along with hosting Speak for Yourself, co-hosting with my dog, you know your boys had to host several love shows over the course of this last season. So I got a question not just that I'm going to answer, but for you as well, because Dak Prescott has changed my opinion based on his play, and he's made me have to figure out, do I want to commit to him or not? So, let's play a game of start, bench, cut. Shall we?
Yes!
Let's take a look at the big board.
Studio audience. All right, family.
Contestant number one. I just want to describe to you contestant number one's traits. Phenomenal, 3,500 yards on the season, 27 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, made a couple Pro Bowls over the course of his career, 7 giveaways on the season, 103
Married man,
passer
too. I
rating.
see his fingers.
Absolutely. The contestant number two, shall we? Marcellus Wiley now. Contestant number two, a few less yards, 3,000 yards, but only 6 interceptions. Only 10 giveaways as well on the season, a 95 passer rating. Phenomenal contestant as well. Pro Bowls to his name, playoff appearances to his name. And contestant number 3, if we can. Contestant number 3, once again, 3,500 passing yards. You see, a couple more giveaways. That's kind of some of his bad traits. 98 passer rating, not as high as contestant number 1, a little higher than contestant number 2. Contestant number 3, some ups, some downs just as well. Can we look at all the contestants without revealing their identity as Marcellus makes a choice? Start, benching, cut. Who would you want to start, sir?
I would like to start by saying, do you know my marital status? Because I shouldn't be on The Bachelor. I shouldn't be on this game show being hosted by you right now. But I digress. Happily married man. We'll look at these 3 players. These 3 contestants, I will tell you one thing. Let's start from the bottom up. Contestant number 2. You're not going to make my team, brother. Contestant number 2, you're getting cut.
Okay.
Now, I played in the NFL, and a lot of people think that stands for the National Football League. It doesn't. It stands for not for long, you know? And on my team, I don't know my other dynamics. I don't know if I have an opportunistic defense. I don't know if my running game is playing well. I don't know if my backup is better than my starter, Dallas Cowboys, et cetera. But it's obviously between contestant number 1 and contestant number 3, right?
Yes, sir. Tough decision to make. You have a tough decision to make. I mean, contestant number 1 only loses in passing yards, but outside of that, contestant number 1's pretty solid.
Man, that's too close. Contestant number 1, you're starting. Contestant number 2, you're off the team, and contestant number 3, you're on the bench. But hey, watch yourself. Contestant number 1.
Shall we reveal the identity?
Shall we reveal the identity? Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
So
I got rid of Carson Wentz. That's all that matters. I won. Give me my pardon gift so I can go home.
So Dak Prescott is on the bench.
He's
now,
on the bench.
I started with this game of start, bench, cut because my opinion had changed to Dak. Prior to the season, I would have said Dak stands head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. Obviously above Carson Wentz, obviously above Kirk Cousins. But as we've navigated the season, I realized, wait a second, Dak Prescott's play is not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be going into the season. I gave my dog, Marcellus Wiley, a blind resume. Thankfully, he does not have to commit to one of these individuals for life. But we had to look at a blind resume because I was like, wait a second, Dak is not who we thought he was going to be. You told me on a Friday show, and I believe it to be true. If it's too close, that's already a loss for Dak. The fact that Carson Wentz and Dak, I have to think, at least for a heartbeat, about who do I want? Wait a second. You only got 2 less touchdowns, but you have 4 less turnovers, and you've played an additional game. Too close for comfort, and Kirk significantly beating Dak. I just wanted to start there to make the point, not just to you, so to figure out who you would commit to. But to our audience, they'll be like, I don't know, Dak.
I don't know what show this is where the host is misconstruing with the contestant, the real contestant, contestant number 0, I guess, because this is 1 through 3. I didn't say that. It was obvious to me contestant number 2 didn't belong on my team. I said that pretty early. And I'm glad I said it pretty early because it's consistent to what I think. Now, between contestant number 1 and contestant number 3, here's the situation. I know that Kirk Cousins is a baller. Now, I know that Kirk Cousins is not winning in the most important category, which is going out there and winning ball games. That's Dak Prescott, who has a better record than Kirk Cousins. More importantly, host of this show. Let's talk about this. Can I get out of this?
Yeah, can I get
removed from all this?
No more.
You know what I'm saying?
I made my point. Thank you.
Okay, you know what I'm saying?
It's heavy, though. Don't break it back.
That's real, because life is a game. I give you that. But football's serious. Now let's talk some football. Dak Prescott, I wonder, having more wins than Kirk Cousins, deserving of obviously being on my team. You got him in a bench position just to be because of the stats. Since we're going to stick to the stats, I'm going to look at these stats right here and tell me who has a higher, let's play another game called You're Now the Contestant. All right, all right, Acho, who has a higher passer rating? Would it be Dak Prescott or Patrick Mahomes?
Dak Prescott, I would assume.
You would assume?
Yes,
oh, right. Now, I wonder why I picked Patrick Mahomes, because I know you think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Who has a higher completion percentage? Would it be Patrick Mahomes again or Dak Prescott? Start or bench? Which one?
I would assume Dak Prescott.
Let's go a little higher. Let's up the ante. Not just who you think is the best quarterback, but who the NFL thought was the best quarterback last year. Who has more yards per game passing this year? Would it be Dak Prescott or, I don't know, NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers?
I would assume Dak Prescott.
All right. I need that long mic with the little afro on the top. Go, you know what, Acho? You're right again. I don't know how you're so good at this game, because it's just this game we're talking about. In totality, Kirk Cousins is not the same quarterback as Dak Prescott. But in stats, in some major statistical categories, he is better. Just like in totality, Dak Prescott's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. But in some major statistical categories, he can win. The point is, we can play games all we want, but football is way too serious for that. And we know Dak Prescott's playing football better than anyone we've seen on that board.
Okay, he might be playing football better than who we've seen on that board, but he's not playing football very well. That's what we got to cut. Like
right now, you are absolutely
the last 5
correct.
weeks of the season.
You are absolutely
correct. But here's the problem,
and
this is my biggest issue with Dak Prescott fanatics, not people who champion him or are realistic about him, but Dak Prescott fanatics. He ain't played well for 5 games, or at least he's had a bad 5-game stretch. We've only played 14 games. His last 5 games, he has 5 total touchdowns. The last 5 games, 5 total touchdowns, I believe 4 interceptions. During Mahomes' worst 5-game stretch of the season, he has a 5-touchdown game.
Yes.
Dak has 5 touchdowns in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
During Mahomes' worst 5-game stretch, he has a 5-touchdown game. My problem of why my opinion of Dak hasn't changed, because I already knew who Dak Prescott was, a good quarterback, shows signs of greatness, but not an elite quarterback. My problem is, how many more excuses are we going to keep looking for?
Well, is that the word we're going to use? It's not excuses if you say, within your slump, at your worst, did you score 43 points? At your worst, did you score 33 points? This is at his worst. Name this. Let's have some more fun with your game show. Name another quarterback that is number 1 in yards per game and number 2 in points per game. Anybody, there's really that much room for anybody to squeeze in there. But who else is doing that with their offense? We score the most points and we have the second most yards. Like, think about that in terms of what he's doing and leading the charge. And now we're going to not look at the law of averages, which is consistency, which is reliability, which is what we should be up here doing. We're going to now slice and dice up his season to the last 5 games. And even in those last 5 games, you still see some highs that give you some confidence.
I'll look at the whole picture of Dak's season. Dak's season, I think he's like 7th in touchdown passes. Like, Dak's season.
That's not horrible.
It's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not Dak Prescott. Bro, and here's what's crazy.
Was Dak Prescott 7th best quarterback coming into this season?
I would say yes.
Because of the money. But would you have said yes in terms of the performance?
You think he's supposed to be better or worse? I'm confused.
This is the best version we've seen of Dak Prescott, correct?
Which?
Yes. Yes? So if he was...
I'm trying to answer honestly. Like, is this better than his rookie one MVP vote season?
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting to me about this version of Dak Prescott is it's just not elite. And at what point in time are we going to see an elite Dak Prescott for the praise we give Dak Prescott? It's just not elite. Like, Dak is good. And label me a hater if you want to. But I'm just like, what? Where do we look at this quarterback and see elite? Turnover this last game with 8 minutes, 19 seconds left when you already got the game in the bag. It's 21-6. Just don't fumble the ball. Week before, Giants game, it's in the bag. Just don't turn the ball over. Then you throw a pick. Excuse me, that was this week was a Giants game. The week before was Washington. It's just, you got it in the bag, and Dak just hasn't been elite. Stafford hasn't had a stretch this bad. Brady hasn't had a stretch this bad. Rodgers hasn't had a stretch this bad. Herbert hasn't had a stretch this bad. Burrow hasn't had a stretch this bad. Allen hasn't had a stretch this bad. I'm looking at all the quarterbacks who Dak Prescott belongs in the same breath and set and saz, and he's just been worse in totality. His highs haven't been as high. His lows have been lower. I can't make sense of it. So.
Okay, well, let's make sense of it. Let's first compare Dak to Dak. To just get on the same page that this is a better version of Dak Prescott. His rookie year ended up 5th in terms of yards per game, right? This year, He is second. First. Second in points per game, rookie year, fifth. Those are improvements. Now, Dak is better than he was his rookie year, even though his rookie year he won 13 games. Yet to see if they're going to win 13 games. Now, let's fast forward. Who is Dak compared to everyone else in the relative experience? Dak Prescott still leads in major statistical categories: passing touchdowns, passer rating, passing yards per game, completion percentage. He's top 10. He's fifth, sixth, ninth, and 10th. Like, Dak Prescott, rookie year, we were looking at him like, okay, to your point, to your great sentence, Aaron Rodgers in decline was Dak Prescott's best year. And now we're at this place where Dak Prescott's not average. Dak Prescott may not be elite at this moment, but Dak Prescott is having a very good elite level year.
Here's why I can't give you that. And because you have a high standard of yourself, so let's speak with that high standard. You don't get into Columbia being the top 30% of your class. No. I don't know what high school you went to, but I promise you, like top 30% doesn't get you into an Ivy League school of Columbia. It just doesn't. Maybe top 3%, but not top 30.
Not kids.
If Dak Prescott is 10th in a category, that's top 30%. It's only 32 teams. Only about 30 starting quarterbacks because so many gotten hurt, really closer to 26 starting quarterbacks. When you realize Sam Darnold's been hurt, when you realize Fitzpatrick's been hurt, like there just aren't even 30 starting quarterbacks.
No.
So if Dak is 8th in a category out of 24, out of 26, that's top 30%. That's just not impressive. Like, I need Dak.
Impressive?
What is impressive to me, top 5, cute in just about everything. Tom Brady, top 5 in passing touchdowns, passer rating, passing yards.
MVP.
Justin Herbert, I didn't even realize how good he was. You keep telling me, so I have to look it up. Herbert, top 5 in passing touchdowns, top 5 in passer rating. Stafford, top 5. Then we get to Dak, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th. The bar is set too high for Dak.
No, it's
for
not.
when Dak to be 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th, we're just like, yeah, I mean, but it's not that bad.
You ever been in that track meet where it's the warm-ups for the great leaper? Everyone else is like, yo, this is kind of like high for us, but the great leaper's like, I'm still in sweats and those tear-offs too, like NBA style. So he's just sitting there, and then he just walks up to it, and he's like, do that. You know what Dak has done to his season, to his status, to his perception, to his reputation? Walked up to it, said, up. What other team out there has the number 1 offense? Oh, it can't be because he's number 1. What other team out there is better in terms of scoring points? Only one. And that one team lost last night. And how many points did they score? 0. So all I'm saying is, which categories are we going to look at? You're the leader of an offense that's number 1 in yards. And it's number 2 in points, even through the slump being considered. The law of averages says Dak Prescott's still balling.
I look at it like this, man. Dak Prescott was born on second base in football terms and is now on third.
A fourth rounder born on second base?
A fourth rounder who was born to a team with 3 offensive linemen that are going to the Hall of Fame. At least 2 for sure. At least 2 in Zach Martin and Tyron Smith.
Facts.
A rookie running back who's a top 5 selection who is a beast in Ezekiel Elliott. The greatest Cowboys touchdown receiver in history, Des Bryant. A first ballot Hall of Fame tight end, Jason Witten. And an all-pro slot receiver in Cole Beasley. He was born in football second base, and he's now on third. As opposed to somebody like Justin Herbert, who was born in a dugout and is on second or third, as opposed to somebody like Joe Burrow, who was born in a dugout and is on second or third. I look at Dak and I'm like, wait a second. You should have the best offense in the league because you have the best offense in the league. You got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. You have a quarterback who's an OC who's a quarterback-friendly coach, a head coach who's an offensive mind. You have Zeke. You have Michael Gallup. You should have the best offense in the league. Dak, you should be top 5 in just about every major statistical category based on all the talent you got around you. How you grow up in that great of a household and you ain't done nothing for yourself?
Well, you got to look around. You got a bad brother. Like, look, rookie year in the running game, second best in the league. This year, 6th. Not a huge drop-off, but not the same level of support. But you know what it is better? The entire offense. You know what is better? In terms of us scoring more points than we did any time in my tenure as a Dallas Cowboy. I just look at this situation a little different than you. I look at a guy like Dak Prescott, who's born into an impossible situation. To beat a franchise quarterback from being a 4th-round selection when we already have a franchise quarterback. You imagine that situation? Hey, I want you to be who that guy is, but that guy's not going anywhere, and we didn't really think that high of you. Dak Prescott has raised the bar in terms of not only those expectations, but the realization that he's good to elite.
Let me ask you this.
What you going?
Is 5th, because you said Dak Prescott is 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th. I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
roughly fifth,
sixth, ninth, 10th.
And in important categories. We're talking touchdowns, we're talking yards, completion
including
percentage,
the
passer
slump.
rating. In important passing categories. That's not elite. That's the problem, Sel. Like, nothing about that is elite. To get into, I think, the University of Texas, you got to be top 8% if you go to public school. Top 8% automatic admission. Top 8%, if there are 32 teams, top 8%, you're talking top 3. Less than top 3, 1 or 2. That, to me, is elite. To get into Columbia, I would assume y'all's admission percentage is maybe 0.03%.
Why is it that high?
Like, exactly. Like, to me, that is elite. Elite isn't 25th percentile, 28th percentile, 20th. That's just not elite. That's good.
Yeah.
But it's not elite.
But you know what it is? It's not necessarily me being elite. It's we being elite. Number 1 offense. Number 2 in points per game. And how many teams got a better record than us? Couple. So the point is, it's all adding up together for Dak Prescott to be an elite company. Except the elite company this year is his team, the Dallas Cowboys.